Alright, in this video I am going to explain the document labeling procedure for three different settings that we are planning to do a user study on. The first one is to add document labels in a random order. So this is supposed to emulate the baseline where we don't have any other information about the corpus. We just know that we have documents in a random order and we want to add labels to it. The second setting is that I'm going to explain is using a topic model. So we are going to use the topic model information to label documents. And the third one is where we, in addition to the topic model, we also use the active learning. So this is the main page of the interface. So again, these are the topic indices, and then these are the top words for each topic, and these are the top relevant documents for each topic. So the first setting, which is the random setting, which is our baseline, is going to happen by clicking on this button. So first we will need to choose the number of documents that we want to label. So this part needs to change. Right now we consider that the cost is the number of labeled documents, but this needs to change to be time. But for now, let's say we enter 10. So we want to random 10 we want to label 10 documents. So I enter number 10 there and then click on show random docs. So what is going to happen is that it'll keep showing random documents until I have labeled 10 documents. Here we see a text. It looks like it is related to finance. So I will create a finance label and then set the label to this document to be finance. As soon as I choose a label, then the next random document will show up. It looks like this is related to defense or military, so I will add a label and then set that to be defense. So at each point, whenever I add a label, the classifier will run in the background because we need the results after, we need to calculate the purity after each labeling in the baseline. So we can also load the previous document or skip one document, refuse to assign a label to it. So let's keep adding labels, and as soon as we finish adding 10 labels, then it'll show a message and stop suggesting documents. Alright, so we have labeled 10 documents, and now this message will show up that we have labeled enough random documents. We are done, and we can see all the labels that we've added by navigating through previous and next. Alright, so now I am going to talk about the second task that I talked about before, which is labeling documents based on the topic information. So the idea is that the user will see the top words for each topic and the documents that are highly relevant to that topic. And these top words should lead and guide the user in the process of adding labels. So for example, the user will see this topic with words college, teaching, degree, parents, grade, and these words gives the user some idea about these documents, and probably the user will add some labels such as education. So the user can click on each one of these documents. The first paragraph or so of the document will show up, and then the user can create a label, let's say education, create that label, and add that to the label and assign that label to this document. So as soon as the user chooses a label, then the next document in the original ordering of the document list will show up. So the user can keep doing this. So for example, they can choose a document from this topic which has words HIV, candidate, AIDS, and so it looks like these documents are related to health. So the user can create a new label and set that document label to be health. So the user can keep doing this as long as they want, and at any time they can click on Run Classifier. Um, so this will run the classifier, and then after the classifier has run, then all the documents will have a label assigned to them, and the posterior probability of each label will also show up for the document. So for example, this document is, the classifier thinks that it is with probability 76%, it is in category education, and with probability 23%, it is in category health. So the user can keep changing all of these labels and run the classifier as long as they want. And they can stop doing the task as soon as they are done. Alright, so now I am going to explain the third setup, which is using both topic model information and active learner. So the user sees the topic words and the documents, and they can apply labels like they did in the previous setup. But in addition to that, they also have this option for suggest documents, that they will have the active learner suggesting documents to them. But before having the active learner suggest documents, the user need to add at least two different labels to do two different documents. So if right away I click on suggest docs, I will see this error, which means that we cannot jump into the active learner right away. So like before, let's create let's label two documents that we also added before. One of them is going to be a label for education. To create a label education, set the label of this document to education, and let's choose a document from this topic which is related to health. Create health label, and set the label to health. Now that we have two documents labeled with two different labels, we can have the active learner suggest documents to us. So if I click on this suggest documents, um, the active learner will show documents, and the user can keep labeling the documents. They can skip a document by clicking next if they think that they don't want to label that document, and as before, they can keep adding labels here or using the existing label set. So the user sees this document, looks like it is related to agriculture, so we can create a label called agriculture and set the label of this document to be agriculture. So as soon as the user chooses a label, then the active learner will suggest the next document that it thinks is more informative. So if the user again doesn't want to label a document, they can click on next, and it'll keep showing the documents as long as the user wants to label them. So um, we can choose a label, and then keep doing this until we feel like we have labeled enough documents, so we can run the classifier like before. So if you run the classifier, everything else stays the same as stage 2. Now every document is paired with a label with all the probabilities showing up. And again, we can still use the active learner. So the active learner, by clicking on the suggest docs, the active learner will suggest documents. Again, if the user thinks that this label is right, they can just skip this, or if they think that they want to change this, they can create a new label. Let's create a new label called transportation and set the label to transportation. Um, again, as soon as the user chooses a label, then the active learner will suggest the next document label.